This is Vivian. She recently started a catering business, but like many other small businesses, she was struggling to get new clients. Growing a new business is never easy. She advertised her business on iWing Marketplace to increase her visibility and to attract more customers. Advertise your business like Vivian to attract potential customers no matter where you are in the world. It takes just seconds for customers to find you through the search engine or the category section. So don't wait. Advertise your business today on www.iwingmarketplace.com and increase your chances of being found by potential customers.
Being uncertain is no pleasant feeling, and when you have goals to hit, it's frustrating aimlessly working and not getting what you want. My name is Coach Donald, and if you find yourself in this place, GHP's online coaching may be a great fit for you. Whether that is prepping for your next races, season, or competitions, handling a nagging injury, or simply looking to become your best healthy self, all remote coaching is set up for you to win. From customizable training delivered seamlessly to your phone, guidance on injury and nutrition, accountability, and even video training sessions, having a coaching relationship with someone who actually cares about you and your family goes a long way. Connect with me to create a proven success plan and see our offerings. Leave your information on my website or send a DM to get started and learn why life-changing fitness is not simply a motto, but a way of living.
Salut madame, c'est dimanche, c'est l'invité du dimanche, je m'appelle Alain Pierre et bienvenue sur Afrique Today. Alors nous sommes actuellement en direct sur Afrique Today et vraiment je suis vraiment très heureux de vous retrouver ici sur Afrique Today. Alors beaucoup de personnes me demandent comment faire pour regarder Afrique Today. C'est très simple, vous pouvez regarder Afrique Today en même temps, simultanément, en même temps sur 4 plateformes. Facebook, YouTube, Twitter et sur notre website www.afriquetoday.com. Vous pouvez aussi télécharger les applications d'Afrique Today. Nous avons des applications. Nos applications sont disponibles pour les téléphones Android et pour les téléphones iPhone. Afrique Today est déjà disponible sur toutes les Smart TV. Alors, vous pouvez aussi regarder Afrique Today sur Roku TV et Amazon Fire Stick. Alors, comme je disais, nous sommes dimanche, alors nous continuons à être confinés ici Et nous avons quelqu'un de très très important, c'est un révérend professeur Peter Price qui a un PDG en interprétation et en traduction. Ça, c'est vraiment très important. Français, anglais, il parle couramment français, anglais. Il est un professeur dans une université du Maryland. Il va nous parler de lui. Il est actuellement avec nous en direct du côté du Maryland. Salut docteur et bienvenue sur Afrique Today.
Bonjour.
Alors, vous pouvez vous présenter. Il y a beaucoup de personnes qui ne vous connaissent pas certainement. Est-ce que vous pouvez vous présenter à tous nos téléspectateurs qui nous regardent actuellement?
Bon, bref, je dirais que j'ai deux rôles. Premièrement, je suis membre du clergé et j'écris donc, je suis rédacteur des commentaires bibliques. Et en ma deuxième fonction, c'est professeur des langues françaises à l'université. Donc voilà les deux rôles en bref que je joue actuellement.
Alors, où avez-vous appris à parler? Vous êtes originaire, je sais que vous êtes africain, mais vous êtes originaire de quel pays?
Je suis originaire du Ghana.
Vous êtes ghanéen et vous parlez correctement français, c'est vraiment, vraiment très impressionnant. Alors, aujourd'hui, vous êtes révérend et vous parlez plus de la Bible. Alors, ma question est la suivante. Qu'est-ce qui vous a amené à vous intéresser à la Bible?
Bon, il s'agit de, si je peux dire, bon, c'est ce que j'ai constaté il y a plusieurs années que j'ai ce talent à comprendre la Bible et à expliquer la Bible aux gens. Et lorsque je me suis mis à se mettre dans cette fonction, j'ai constaté que les gens ont beaucoup apprécié. Et de temps en temps, il y a des gens aussi qui me demandent de leur expliquer des versets des Bibles. Et ce qui m'a amené à continuer dans ce chemin. Et je vois donc que c'est une fonction spirituelle que Dieu m'a donnée à pratiquer ici pour, n'est-ce pas, faire comprendre la Bible aux gens.
Alors, faire comprendre la Bible aux gens, donc vous allez toujours faire comprendre la Bible aux gens et je crois qu'il y a beaucoup de gens qui seront intéressés par ce que vous allez nous dire ici. Et lorsque je regarde votre biographie ici, je regarde ici que vous avez même un certificat, vous avez une licence de Washington, de Maryland et de Virginie. Alors, cette licence-là, ça sert à quoi? C'est une licence d'interprétariat?
Non, c'était après le doctorat en traduction et en interprétation que je me suis dirigé vers les États-Unis. Et donc, aux États-Unis, j'étais enseignant dans les écoles publiques. Et le certificat sert à me permettre de fonctionner en tant qu'administrateur scolaire.
OK. Donc, ce n'est qu'en tant qu'administrateur scolaire que vous avez obtenu ce certificat-là.
C'est ça.
Donc, alors, moi, je voudrais vous savoir comment s'est passé vos études d'interprétariat avant qu'on passe au sujet biblique. Comment ça s'est passé? Parce qu'il n'est pas facile, il faut savoir, il faut faire comprendre à tous ceux qui nous regardent actuellement que votre langue officielle, c'est l'anglais. Mais là, vous avez eu un doctorat qui vous a permis d'étudier aussi la langue française et c'est pour cela que vous donnez des cours de français. Alors, comment cela s'est passé? Parlez-nous un peu de votre expérience.
Justement, c'est vrai que ma langue officielle, c'est l'anglais, mais au Ghana, j'ai fait ce qu'on appelle ici aux États-Unis l'immersion française, où j'ai fait le français de bas âge et au collège jusqu'à l'université, n'est-ce pas, pour la maîtrise ainsi que pour le doctorat et pour le bac aussi. Et donc, je peux dire que dès bas âge, j'ai fait le français jusqu'au niveau doctorat. Et c'est la raison pour laquelle j'ai continué dans la traduction et dans l'interprétation en Europe. Et après cela, je suis entré dans l'enseignement à l'université.
Ouais, c'est vraiment très intéressant. C'est vraiment très intéressant ce que vous faites et nous sommes vraiment nous sommes très impressionnés de vous avoir ici dans nos studios d'Afrique Today. Alors, il faut aussi rappeler que vous avez fait l'université de Dakar et c'était en 1987. Et comment avez-vous fait pour arriver ici aux États-Unis? Parce que vous avez quand je lis votre biographie, elle est très grande. Vous avez commencé, je crois que votre premier diplôme universitaire a été obtenu au Dakar. Après, vous êtes allé en Allemagne. Après l'Allemagne, vous avez continué à voyager, vous êtes venu aux États-Unis, vous êtes allé à Lagos. Et alors, ça, c'est un très long parcours, professeur.
C'est vrai, le trajet a été divers. J'ai commencé au Ghana et j'ai continué, n'est-ce pas, au Nigeria, l'université de Calabar, et pour le premier degré universitaire. Et après cela, j'ai continué pour la maîtrise à l'université de Lagos. Et après Lagos, je suis retourné au Ghana. Et en 1995, je suis allé en Europe et en Finlande. C'est où j'ai fait le doctorat en traduction et en interprétation. Après la Finlande, je suis venu aux États-Unis, où je suis entré dans l'enseignement à l'université. Et le Dakar, bon, voilà, Dakar, j'étais à Dakar aussi, à l'université chez Kanta Job de Dakar, où c'est là où, au fait, j'ai aussi rencontré, n'est-ce pas, le feu président Léopold Sédar Senghor. Et là, à Dakar, je me suis mis à écrire des poèmes. Et donc, il m'est parvenu de, n'est-ce pas, chercher à rencontrer le président Léopold Sédar Senghor. Et heureusement que je l'ai rencontré et il m'a adressé une lettre que je garde jusqu'à présent parce que à ce moment-là, je savais que c'était un poète africain, très grand poète africain. Et donc, c'était avec beaucoup de plaisir que j'ai cherché à le rencontrer. Et donc, après les études à Dakar, l'université de Dakar, je suis retourné au Nigeria pour terminer les études. Et donc, bon, après Lagos, retourné au Ghana, et après le Ghana, en Europe, en Finlande, où j'ai fait le doctorat en traduction et interprétation. Et après la Finlande, je suis venu aux États-Unis pour enseigner.
Waouh, ça, c'est vraiment grandiose. Il faut aussi faire comprendre à ceux qui nous regardent actuellement que vous êtes écrivain. Alors, est-ce que vous pouvez nous citer quelques ouvrages que vous avez déjà écrits?
Oui, voilà. Je peux commencer avec le manuel des Français. J'ai ici Français aux anglophones. Français aux anglophones, c'est un livre pour les étudiants de l'université. C'est un livre de 521 pages, donc que j'ai écrit pour les étudiants à l'université, intitulé Français aux anglophones. Et c'est trouvable sur mon site internet à www.bookstoresite.org. Et après cela, il y a aussi ce livre-là intitulé Thematic Dictionary of Matthew. Thematic Dictionary of Matthew, c'est en anglais et c'est un livre de 562 pages. Et après cela, je peux vous présenter aussi ce livre intitulé Salvation Anointed Teachings. Salvation Anointed Teachings. C'est aussi trouvable sur mon site internet. C'est un livre de plus de presque 700 pages. Et il y a donc un livre sur le conseil, n'est-ce pas, pour les clergés, The Counseling Manual. The Counseling Manual, c'est trouvable sur mon site internet, n'est-ce pas? Et il y a aussi un chapitre écrit par le Bishop Robert Coulter, n'est-ce pas? Et après cela, je peux vous présenter aussi le livre intitulé Threatened by the Truth. Threatened by the Truth, n'est-ce pas? C'est un livre aussi de presque 600 pages. Et après cela, vous avez un livre de conseils sur le mariage, et c'est intitulé Marriage is a Blood Covenant, a Counseling Guide. C'est un livre aussi trouvable sur mon site internet, un livre de quelques 300 pages. Et finalement, je peux vous présenter le livre intitulé Strategies for Church Growth. Strategies for Church Growth, n'est-ce pas? C'est un livre de 500 pages. Donc voilà, 7 ou 8 livres que je peux vous présenter actuellement, que j'ai rédigés et publiés.
Waouh, c'est vraiment très important. Une biographie, je disais à ceux qui nous regardent actuellement, une biographie vraiment énorme. Je rappelle à ceux qui viennent de se connecter que c'est toujours l'invité du dimanche. Et je suis actuellement avec révérend professeur Peter Price. Il est professeur de français, mais il parle couramment français et anglais. Il est aussi écrivain, comme vous venez de le voir. Il a écrit plusieurs ouvrages. Nous parlerons de ces ouvrages. La majorité de ces ouvrages parlent de Dieu, et c'est de cela nous allons parler de cela tout à l'heure. Mais avant de parler de tout cela, nous allons prendre une pause publicitaire, et lorsqu'on reviendra, le professeur nous dira plus sur ce qu'il pense de Dieu et sur ce qu'il pense de la situation du coronavirus que nous avons actuellement. On revient tout à l'heure, juste après une pause publicitaire. À bientôt. Merci donc d'être connecté sur Afrique Today. C'est donc toujours votre émission préférée, l'invité du dimanche. Je m'appelle Alain Pierre et je suis très heureux d'être avec vous cet après-midi. Alors, comme je vous le disais, nous avons un invité vraiment hyper fantastique, révérend professeur Peter Price. Il est professeur d'université, il est professeur de français. à l'université du Maryland. Il est aussi écrivain, il est écrivain, il a écrit plusieurs ouvrages. Alors, professeur, lorsque je lis votre biographie, j'ai lu un endroit où ça dit ici que vous avez participé à des émissions radio et télévision où vous avez fait des lectures de plusieurs séries. Essayez de me parler de cette expérience, professeur.
Il y a des coupures, les sons.
Voilà, je disais donc que vous avez, lorsque je lis votre biographie, j'ai l'impression que vous avez aussi une expérience au niveau de la radio et de la télévision où vous avez eu plusieurs émissions, vous avez fait plusieurs des séries, des émissions télé et radio. Je souhaite un peu que vous me parlez de cette expérience-là.
Oui, bon, je peux dire que j'ai commencé au Ghana où j'ai participé dans des discussions bibliques à la télévision et à la radio, n'est-ce pas, portant sur des doctrines et des différents thèmes bibliques. Donc, tout comme je viens de dire, ma spécialisation est d'expliquer des thèmes, des doctrines de la Bible et je vise, n'est-ce pas, des chrétiens sérieux qui aiment lire et rechercher la Bible, des pasteurs, des écoles théologiques, des universités et collèges biologiques, des séminaires. Parce que je trouve que si on peut faire bien comprendre la Bible à ces gens-là, n'est-ce pas, c'est-à-dire les leaders des églises, les pasteurs, nous serons en bien mesure de, n'est-ce pas, bien faire comprendre la Bible aussi aux adhérents, n'est-ce pas, et de bien pratiquer le christianisme et de comprendre exactement ce que Dieu attend de nous, etc., etc.
Ok, c'est vraiment très intéressant. Alors, j'ai une question là qui me vient là en tête. Le public à qui vous parlez, le public à qui vous écrivez, quelle est votre audience? Ce sont des pasteurs, ce sont des gens qui font de la théologie, ou alors ce sont des séminaristes. Quel est votre public?
Mon public, j'ai un public divers. Numéro 1, des chrétiens sérieux qui aiment lire et rechercher la Bible. Numéro 2, des pasteurs. Numéro 3, les écoles théologiques. Numéro 4, les universités et collèges bibliques. Et finalement, les séminaires.
Alors, pourquoi avez-vous choisi cette audience-là?
Parce que le message que je voudrais adresser à ce public, c'est, n'est-ce pas, la formation du clergé à la recherche biblique et à la méthodologie de l'enseignement de la Bible. Il faut souligner qu'il y a une méthodologie de l'enseignement de la Bible. Ce n'est pas un livre à enseigner n'importe comment. Et la méthodologie se trouve dans la Bible. Et c'est un thème sur lequel j'ai fait beaucoup de recherches et j'ai écrit aussi un livre pour expliquer tout cela, n'est-ce pas, au clergé qui s'intéresse à bien comprendre la méthodologie de l'enseignement de la Bible, n'est-ce pas. Et pour la formation aussi du clergé, pour la rédaction des sermons, n'est-ce pas, il faut bien, n'est-ce pas, comprendre comment rechercher et rédiger un sermon pour, n'est-ce pas, bien atteindre la compréhension des adhérents dans l'Église. N'est-ce pas, nous sommes tous, nous savons tous qu'actuellement dans le monde, n'est-ce pas, il y a beaucoup de mal et il y en a qui pensent que si nous avons beaucoup d'églises dans le monde et le mal s'amplifie. Dans le monde, c'est bien probable que, n'est-ce pas, les chrétiens aussi se mêlent dans le mal dans le monde. Et ce qui est vrai, n'est-ce pas? Ça veut dire donc qu'il y a une malcompréhension de la Bible et ce que Dieu entend de nous. Et c'est ce que je veux très bien enseigner au clergé, n'est-ce pas, pour savoir comment comprendre la Bible et comment s'agir dans la vie.
Ok, comment s'agir dans la vie. Alors, professeur, alors, et comment vous faites passer ce message-là?
N'est-ce pas, c'est par moyen de manuels de recherche théologique chrétienne que j'ai écrit et publié sur mon site web www, n'est-ce pas, bookstoresite.org. www.bookstoresite.org, n'est-ce pas? Et numéro 2, au moyen de consultations virtuelles et d'enseignement à distance. Et numéro 3, au moyen de modules de formation individualisés en fonction des besoins spirituels spécifiques du pasteur ou de l'Église. Voilà donc les 3 moyens par lesquels j'enseigne ou bien je conduis ma formation biblique. Je n'entends rien là.
Oui, professeur, je disais, je m'excuse, on a eu quelques petits problèmes techniques de son. Donc, je disais donc, quel est le conseil que vous pouvez donner aux gens vous pouvez donner aux gens concernant le coronavirus actuellement et ouais, quel est le conseil? Qu'est-ce qu'ils doivent faire?
Je pense que c'est une question portant beaucoup plus sur l'aspect scientifique et je dirais que aussi
non, si je posais cette question, c'est parce que je crois que bibliquement aussi, la Bible, certaines peuvent peut-être prier ou faire d'autres choses pour essayer, parce qu'il y a des gens qui sont stressés en ce moment de confinement, ou alors d'autres personnes qui ont perdu le travail. Donc c'est pour cela que j'ai posé ces questions-là, professeur.
C'est vrai, j'y revenais et vous avez raison. Et j'ai commencé par dire que c'est une question beaucoup plus scientifique, mais dans la Bible aussi, Dieu nous conseille, n'est-ce pas, de nous soumettre aux autorités, au gouvernement, n'est-ce pas? Et donc, je pense que dans cette période de confinement portant sur le virus Covid, et les chrétiens peuvent trouver beaucoup de soulagement dans la Bible, en lisant la Bible, n'est-ce pas? Parce qu'il y a beaucoup de problèmes pareils qui se sont parvenus dans le monde qui se trouvent dans la Bible. Et donc, je pense que les gens peuvent se pencher vers la Bible, lire la Bible et savoir comment les gens dans la Bible se sont agis pendant des confinements pareils. Et par là, ils peuvent trouver le soulagement qui est nécessaire pour, n'est-ce pas, se sortir de ce confinement sain et sauf.
Merci, merci professeur. Alors, parmi le nombre de livres que vous venez de me présenter, vous m'avez présenté peut-être quelque chose comme 7 livres-là. Quel est le livre que vous, personnellement, vous préférez le plus et pourquoi?
Je vais dire que je préfère ce livre-là, Salvation Anointed Teachings. Salvation Anointed Teachings. C'est parce que, en fin de compte, dans le monde, ce qui on peut, n'est-ce pas, c'est pencher vers beaucoup de choses dans le monde. Nous, on se lève le matin, on fait beaucoup de choses, mais finalement, il y a le salut. Il y a le salut de l'être humain qui est très, très important. Et donc, je dirais que pour moi, en tant qu'être humain, en tant que prêtre, je recommande le livre sur les saluts intitulé Salvation Anointed Teachings.
Alors, ce livre, il parle généralement de quoi? Si vous pouvez un peu être bref, je sais, vous avez essayé de nous expliquer, mais pour ceux qui ne comprennent pas, ce livre, il parle de quoi? Si vous voulez conseiller quelqu'un à acheter ce livre, qu'est-ce que vous allez lui dire?
Le livre porte sur une recherche approfondie du livre de Genèse jusqu'à l'Apocalypse de la Bible et tout ce qui porte sur les saluts. Et donc, vous avez dans ce livre-là une recherche approfondie par laquelle vous allez comprendre comment aborder le thème du salut et comment atteindre le salut, comment se porter vers le salut, comment agir et comment fonctionner en tant qu'être humain qui a obtenu le salut dans son âme. Voilà.
Alors, merci, docteur. Oui?
Mais l'important, c'est de lire le livre. Et je pense que la lecture est très, très importante ici pour nous. Et en tant qu'Africains, les êtres humains, la lecture est très importante. Et quiconque vient, n'est-ce pas, c'est quiconque vient pouvoir ou bien vouloir savoir ce dont il s'agit dans mes ouvrages, il faut d'abord avoir l'amour de lecture.
Il faut avoir l'amour de lecture. Alors, professeur, je vais rappeler à ceux qui nous regardent actuellement qu'actuellement, vous pouvez voir le lien du site www.bookstoresite.com. Allez-y et supportez. .org. Il faut dire à la régie de changer cela. Ouais, donc, .org. Donc, je crois que nous allons changer le titre là maintenant. Ouais, donc les .org, il faut pas faire la confusion. Alors, professeur, je sais aussi que vous passez le temps à faire des trainings bibliques. Alors, parlez-nous un peu de cela, comment cela se passe.
C'est-à-dire que lorsqu'une église a besoin d'une formation biblique pour ses prêtres, l'Église peut faire appel à moi et j'ai, n'est-ce pas, un programme de l'enseignement pour les prêtres pour uniquement les enseigner comment rédiger des sermons, comment, n'est-ce pas, comprendre la méthodologie de l'enseignement de la Bible, etc., etc. Et il y a aussi la possibilité de rechercher sur un thème quiconque dans la Bible. Et donc, l'essentiel, c'est de savoir là où se trouve le problème de la compréhension biblique, la compréhension spirituelle. Et par là, je peux rédiger un programme de l'enseignement pour résoudre le problème.
Ok, merci docteur et vraiment merci pour ce que vous faites pour la communauté. Donc, avant de vous poser ma dernière question, je voudrais savoir votre message pour ceux qui nous regardent actuellement et pour ceux qui parlent en anglais. Je sais que vous êtes vraiment un bilingue vous parlez parfaitement l'anglais comme le français, puisque vous avez eu votre PhD en traduction. Donc, alors, un message pour ceux qui nous regardent, pour l'auditorat anglophone, pour les appeler à acheter vos livres. Qu'est-ce que vous pouvez leur dire?
Well, I will say that this TV appearance is to familiarize you with the works of the Bible that I write and to make you aware that there is a possibility to correctly understand the Bible and to understand the methodology of teaching the Bible. There is a methodology for teaching the Bible, and so this is what I exemplify in the books. And so you need to have the love of reading and to research and to read the works so that you can understand how to live as a Christian. There are different areas in my works that will be able to help you as a Christian. For example, how to write sermons and how to grow your church, and how to conduct counseling as a pastor, and how to offer marriage counseling to people in your church. And then the final is, and the most important one is, how to go about the question of salvation, salvation being the most important for every Christian. And so my main objective is the education of the pastor, because if you can educate the pastor, then you will be able to reach the congregations. Thank you.
Merci, professeur. Alors, pour les contacts maintenant, si une église ou bien certaines personnes qui s'intéressent à la théologie voulaient avoir des trainings, si c'est payant, comment cela se passe, comment vous contactez pour cela? Ou alors, tout cela, c'est dans le site que nous allons montrer tout à l'heure. On disait tout à l'heure, je vais rappeler à on a fait une petite erreur là, mais là, l'erreur a été corrigée. Le site, c'est www.bookstoresite.org. Alors, allez-y, vous voyez le lien sur votre petit écran. Allez-y, regardez, le professeur a plus de 7 livres dans ce livre. Vous pouvez choisir le livre qui vous plaît, l'acheter. Certains livres ont 70 pages, d'autres en ont plus. Donc, alors, qu'est-ce que vous allez dire à ces personnes-là qui veulent avoir ce stage, ce training biblique chez vous? Comment vous contacter?
Oui, numéro 1, de consulter le site internet où vous allez trouver, n'est-ce pas, l'information des contacts, mon numéro de téléphone ainsi que mon courriel, et choisissez le livre qui vous intéresse, ou bien si vous avez des questions à me poser, vous avez aussi mon courriel. Vous pouvez m'envoyer des questions bibliques pour répondre, n'est-ce pas? Et on peut entrer dans les contacts pour continuer l'enseignement biblique et l'entraînement spirituel, si vous voulez. Donc, c'est par le site internet numéro 1. Et numéro 2, c'est par en se mettant en contact avec moi. Mon courriel, ça se trouve là, et mon numéro de téléphone, 1-301-704 23 71 90. Tout cela se trouve sur le site internet. Merci.
Ok, ma dernière question pour cette émission, professeur. Qu'est-ce que vous allez dire? Parce que ça, c'est une question qu'on vient de recevoir des téléspectateurs. Qu'est-ce que vous pouvez dire à ceux-là qui ne veulent pas croire au message biblique?
Ceux qui ne veulent pas croire au message biblique.
Oui, qui ne veulent même pas lire. Il y a des gens qui existent comme ça. Qu'est-ce que vous voulez leur dire? Comment encourager ces personnes-là?
Bon, ceux qui n'ont pas encore trouvé un moyen de présentation biblique qui est très recherché et aussi, n'est-ce pas, de façon organisée. Parce qu'il y a beaucoup de choses que les gens ne comprennent pas dans la Bible et que les gens ont entendues dans les églises. Et moi, je peux dire que j'ai fait l'approche des thèmes bibliques, c'est très recherché et bien organisé. Ça fait beaucoup de sens. Et donc, si vous cherchez à comprendre un thème biblique, si vous avez des questions, vous pouvez m'envoyer vos questions, comme ça je vais vous, n'est-ce pas, je vais marcher avec vous dans la Bible, je vais vous montrer les connaissances que vous manquez, je vais vous montrer n'est-ce pas, les réponses à vos questions que vous n'avez pas encore recherchées. Et donc, c'est une question de savoir, c'est une question de recherche. Et ceux qui n'ont pas encore, ceux qui ne croient pas encore dans la Bible, je pense que c'est une question de l'enseignement. Et je suis prête à vous enseigner et à vous montrer ce que vous manquez, les questions et les réponses qui vont vous encourager à bien comprendre la Bible et à aimer la Bible.
Merci, professeur. Vraiment, merci pour ce message et merci pour ce que vous faites vraiment pour toute la communauté africaine et pour la communauté aussi ghanéenne, parce qu'il faut rappeler que vous êtes originaire du Ghana, si je ne me trompe pas. Donc, et merci vraiment pour le temps que vous avez accordé à cette émission Afrique Today et l'invité du dimanche. Et merci à ceux qui se sont connectés durant presque 30 minutes ici sur Afrique Today. Alors, je vous rappelle que ici dans les studios d'Afrique Today, j'avais aujourd'hui professeur Peter Price, qui est un professeur en théologie et il est aussi professeur, il parle l'anglais et le français. Il est professeur de français dans l'université du Maryland. Il était donc aujourd'hui notre invité du dimanche et il nous présentait ici ses œuvres. Il est écrivain. Alors ceux qui ne connaissent pas comment faire pour acheter les livres du professeur Peter, pour acheter ses livres, allez tout simplement sur le lien que vous voyez actuellement sur mon écran, c'est www.bookstoresite.org. Vous pouvez tout simplement aller dans ce site et vous aurez tous les contacts du professeur et vous aurez comment, vous seriez comment le joindre. Alors, beaucoup de personnes me posent la question, comment faire pour regarder Afrique Today? C'est très très simple. Vous pouvez nous regarder en même temps sur 4 plateformes, Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, et vous pouvez aussi nous regarder sur notre site internet www.afriquetoday.com. Afrique Today est déjà disponible sur toutes les Smart TV. Téléchargez les applications Android et les applications iPhone. Alors, vous pouvez aussi regarder Afrique Today sur votre Smart TV, Amazon Fire Stick et Roku TV. Merci d'avoir été des nôtres. Nos émissions se poursuivent sur Afrique Today. Je m'appelle Alain Pierre et j'espère vous retrouver dimanche prochain. Bon dimanche. Merci.
Salut à tous, je suis le docteur pasteur Nathalie Kamsu. Ne ratez pas de vous connecter désormais tous les dimanches à 17h sur cette nouvelle émission de Transformation Point sur Afrique Today. Je suis déjà très excitée de partager avec vous les secrets de la parole de Dieu et les révélations du Seigneur Jésus-Christ qui seul peut vous transformer, vous relever de vos chutes, vous restaurer, vous encourager, vous fortifier et vous donner le véritable succès dans tout ce que vous avez toujours rêvé dans votre vie. Les témoignages des messages que je diffuse quotidiennement et des prières sont très nombreux ici aux États-Unis, en Washington et au Maryland, en Europe, en France, en Belgique et en Allemagne et au Cameroun également et dans les milieux divers. Les vies sont transformées quand nous savons appliquer les secrets de la parole de Dieu à nos vies. C'est ce que nous faisons en apportant cette nouvelle édition à Afrique Today. La mission que le Seigneur Jésus m'a confiée est très très grande et vous ferez désormais partie de ce grand témoignage en vous connectant tous les dimanches à Afrique Today à 17h. Téléchargez déjà votre application ou le app Afrique Today. Vous pouvez aussi aller sur le website et vous connecter à l'adresse suivante www.afriquetoday.com. Que le Seigneur vous bénisse abondamment selon ses promesses de Matthieu 6,33 qui dit « Cherchez premièrement le royaume et la justice de Dieu et toutes ces choses vous seront données par-dessus tout. » Amen. Allez, à dimanche à 17h sur Afrique Today. Merci.
These are the days of Elijah, declaring the word of the Lord. And these are the days.
René Sokmak Difumbi, le mignon. Amuyana bangamboma, amuyana bangamboma, asawa miye, asawa miye, nengana monde, asawa miye, asawa miye, owami mutaka yokono, asawa miye, owami ngana banga, asawa miye, owami ngani bale, asawa miye, owami ngana monduwe, asawa miye. Honorable Peter William Manjo, bien-né Albert Ifoyou, Binek, patron de Madrid. Michel Michaud Moussala, très puissant. Des combats naniti dans les potions aya. Dans les botama aya. London dans les potions aya. Bebine na umboto, moloke amase. Aya Emile Beauté. Nelendola ni suya. Tanunu makubano. Nelendola ni suya. Nikule nelendola ni suya. Tanunu kanakanoba. Nelendola ni suya. Tanunu koba kanubano. Nelendola ni suya. Tanunu monokubano. Nelendola ni suya. Nikule nelendola ni suya. Ni boni ba ne ba ni betume. Ni boni ba ne ba ni betume. Ko ni ba ni ke motel mo woni. Oya ko ba no ba ni ke motel mo woni. Unandiki nyani no me abi woli ne no molema. Onelinga nyane no mi ani woli ne ya kuni kime. Onelinga nyane no me abi woli na no molema. Isalia muiti mabuta yake na yumo. Oscar Olivier. Le blanc des banelles et à Maurice. Jérôme Mbangelian, Mousseni Guillaume, tout est né. Sa Majesté Justin Bambouka, Gabriel Essakal, la sagesse des bananes. Charles Inoga, le modèle. Mouyenga Eli.
This is Vivian. She recently started a catering business, but like many other small businesses, she was struggling to get new clients. Growing a new business is never easy. She advertised her business on iWing Marketplace to increase her visibility and to attract more customers. Advertise your business like Vivian to attract potential customers no matter where you are in the world. It takes just seconds for customers to find you through the search engine or the category section. So don't wait. Advertise your business today on www.iwingmarketplace.com and increase your chances of being found by potential customers.
prince Bakoko de Japoma, Emile Beauté, le maestro de la sapologie.
Abando bayi mi se mi boniki follow. Mi wa mule mabata mi bonu tindi kitambi mi bonu tindi kitambi yeah.
Oh yeah, oh yeah.
Abando bayi mi se mi boniki follow eh. Kwa mule mabata ka bonu tindi kitambi ka bonu tindi kitambi yeah. Mabina massage ni adina nana.
Daniel Kwedi,
mabina massage ni adina nana. Mabina massage ni adina nana. Mabina massage ni adina nana.
Gabriel Manimben, APM.
Awale mote, awale mote, ana mise tabona kana bela bikimoe. Ana mondo tabonaka, ana tabonak swai. Ana mondo tabonaka, ana tabonak shwa. Amalomba bata andendele. Ana munu bata ana njotole. Ana yosu bata andundolini. Awale mote, awale mote, ana mondo tabonaka na matama makimoe. Ana mondo tabonaka na belongo bikimoe. Ne hono umisi mikimoe oh mama oh. Ne yako ubana ni bakimoso ne hono umisi mikimoe oh no papa oh. Ne yako ubana
Yalo Titembi, man for Koreka. Mon parent Beyak Maurice, danse, danse, danse. Sergini le rossignol banin.
Mabina massage ni adina nana. 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 Awale mote, awale mote, ana mise tabonaka na bela bikimoe. Ana mondo tabonaka, ana tabonak swai. Ana mondo tabonaka, ana tabonak shwa. Amalomba bata andendele. Ana munu bata ana njotole. Ana yosu bata andundolini. Awale mote, awale mote, ana mondo tabonaka na matama makimoe. Ana mondo tabonaka na belongo bikimoe.
Martin Alphonse Limaleba, la force tranquille. Achille Behakaniak, Mouspa, le Mousseni le bontologue.
This is Vivian. She recently started a catering business, but like many other small businesses, she was struggling to get new clients. Growing a new business is never easy. She advertised her business on iWing Marketplace to increase her visibility and to attract more customers. Advertise your business like Vivian to attract potential customers no matter where you are in the world. It takes just seconds for customers to find you through the search engine or the category section. So don't wait. Advertise your business today on www.iwingmarketplace.com and increase your chances of being found by potential customers.
Thank you for watching Afrique Today. This is Afrique Today, and we are live again here on Afrique Today. A lot of people ask me how to watch Afrique Today. It's very simple, and we have the second show will start now, and for that I have Dr. Manka with me now. She's live now from Maryland. Hi, Dr. Manka. How are you today? Hello, Dr. Manka. Hello.
Can you hear me?
Yes, I hear you now. How are you today?
I am good. How are you doing, Mr. Allen?
What we will talk today about?
So today we're going to be talking a little bit about post-traumatic stress syndrome, and we have Dr. Rodney on to talk to us about it a little bit more. So.
Okay, I give you an opportunity to present, doctor, and the show will start right now. Let's go.
Thank you so much, Alan. Thank you, Afrique Today, for having us to live streamed today. Good evening to you, our viewers, and good evening to everyone who's watching. Thanks again for joining us for this segment of our virtual discussions that are brought to you by Immigrant Community Services in partnership with Afrique Today. Our goal is to bring you critical information and resources on dealing with this, the COVID-19 pandemic. And as I was talking to Mr. Allen earlier, we have a subject matter expert on today, Dr. Tamar Rodney. I'll let Dr. Tamar Rodney say hello to our viewers.
Hello, everyone. It's my pleasure to be with you this evening. Thank you, Manka and Elaine. And hopefully I can share with you some insights on how to better cope, some resources that we might have, and all considering it in the context of COVID-19.
Thank you so much, Dr. Rodney. We're so happy you're here to help us understand these things a little bit better. So for those of you who are new to our station and our services, Immigrant Community Services is an organization that is based in Montgomery County, Maryland, and it was really created to help a growing African immigrant population in the area to better be able to provide services that are culturally tailored to that community. So African immigrant community works to provide a service to immigrant and refugee communities, primarily Africans, and it offers services around social, family, education, employment, and other kind of tailored programming to African immigrants in the Montgomery County area and kind of surrounding counties and the Metro DC area. And so as we were talking about earlier, our conversation today is really going to be talking about post-traumatic stress syndrome. And we're going to talk, Dr. Rodney is going to tell us a little bit about what it is, how it presents itself, especially in the context of the African or the immigrant communities, and then talking about how to deal with it in terms of the crisis that we're facing right now. So a little bit about our structure tonight is that we are going to have a quick presentation from Dr. Rodney about post-traumatic syndrome. And then after that, we'll have a brief discussion with her, kind of diving more into how does it present itself in the African immigrant community. And then we'll have a question and answer session towards the ending. So please, if you're live with us on Facebook or the Immigrant Communities Services website or on Twitter, send us your questions and we'll address them towards the end of the session. And so I'd like to tell you a little bit more about Dr. Rodney, who's going to be talking to us tonight. So Dr. Rodney is a board-certified psychiatric nurse practitioner who has worked in trauma and psychiatry in multiple countries, including Jamaica, the United Kingdom, and the USA. She's an assistant professor at Johns Hopkins School of Nursing, and she practices clinically in the Baltimore City area, where she's caring for adults and families with mental health issues. So diving right in, Dr. Rodney, please help me and our viewers really understand what trauma is and how it presents itself in the population.
Thank you so much, Manka. And it's never more important than right now to talk about. This is always important, but taking care of our mental health is something that we often overlook. And I'd like to start, first of all, by just reading in the last line from Maya Angelou's poem. And it goes, leaving behind nights of terror and fear, I rise. Into a daybreak that's wondrously clear, I rise. Bringing the gifts that my ancestors gave. I am the dream and the hope of the slave. I rise, I rise, I rise. And this poem stuck with me because as immigrants, we are often leaving somewhere to go somewhere else. And what we take with us is important, but we're leaving behind is less often discussed. And another part that I would like to stress is that very frequently we take the very best from our homeland and we're dispersed across the country. So the things that would naturally occur, like your 3-generation cousin just down the road that you could go to, doesn't exist normally. Yes, you have your friends, and yes, you have your some family members as well. But comparatively, there are times when we need to speak to a great grandma, and that is not physically present. And so when we speak about mental health, I want us to hold on some of the things that are present that we have now, some of the things that we purposely chose to do as immigrants, and the things that we also left behind. And I think that is the context in which we often forget, and it's not so visible unless it's spoken about. So specifically about trauma, often we hear it simplified into PTSD. And so what that really stands for is post-traumatic stress disorder. And as the name suggests, something would have happened. You have a history of a traumatic event, and it's either an actual event or a threatened event. And what usually will result from the event is either death or serious injury. Now, importantly, this does not have to actually happen to you, but it could be someone close to you. So let's put it in the context of COVID. It could be that your mom is sick and it's so worrying to you about the effects that will cause. That is a traumatic experience for you. Now, how it presents itself is usually what they call different clusters of symptoms, and I'll go through those, and they're namely intrusion symptoms, which can be in the form of nightmares or flashback or very intense emotional reaction to things. Like you see a hospital and that reminds you of what happened there, and so you react to it. You can also purposely avoid things. So you avoid going to a place that previously brought you joy or activities that previously brought you joy. You've taken a purposeful act to avoid going there. The next one is a change in mood. And so you've lost interest in, let's say basketball was your favorite thing to do. It no longer brings you joy. And you're very detached from others. So you pull yourself away from that community that normally gives you strength. And the last one is really your reaction to things. So you might be having difficulty sleeping, or you're very irritable or angry at things which doesn't normally make you angry or irritable. And the other two components I would like to address is that in the context of this usually happens about up to a month after having suffered that traumatic event. And very importantly, we are all going to feel some effects of this trauma. It is very natural that it will happen. However, for it to be classified as a disorder, it must have some significant impact on how you're able to carry out your everyday life. So is it so overwhelming that you can't go to work, that you can't take care of your children? And when you put it all together, we are all going to be on some spectrum of that area of trauma, and we don't want to undervalue any part of it. We really want to pay attention to the pieces as opposed to having a classified disorder. So some things I want us to consider is that it's said very loosely, and it's that we're all unique. Immigrants is a lovely term to bring us together because we know we belong to a community. But even within that context, we're coming from different immigrant backgrounds, and so different needs and different practices. And that's also important to remember, that being African doesn't mean that I value the same things that my other African brother would value. And so that's very important, that we are with a community, but we have unique needs as well. Our backgrounds, the reason why we are immigrants is very different. Some of it is by choice. Some of it is by searching for better opportunity. Some of it is to be with family. So it's not always a hard luck story. Sometimes it's a joyous story that we've chosen to immigrate from our country of birth. What are our specific needs? That's another thing that so someone dying might be viewed as a terrible event, but someone might view it as they're passing on. And so what that void leaves is important at an individual basis. So we won't take an absence of something to generalize it to everyone. And the last part is, what is your support and your coping mechanisms? Again, it's different for each individual. I like to cook. And so when I feel down, making a lovely meal that I could share with someone gives me joy. And it's also a way for me to cope. Some others would prefer to be quiet or pray. And so we have to think about those on an individual level. And so let's talk a little bit about some of the actual coping strategies that we could use as individuals. First and foremost, we need to accept that the response to trauma like this is normal. And I will say that again. We are going through something that we've never been through before. Parts of it might feel familiar, but in this exact framework, none of us have experienced COVID-19 before. And so the feelings that we're feeling of uncertainty and not knowing and fear and worry about what's going to happen, those are feelings that are natural and normal in response to any disaster. But through this, we need to maintain a positive attitude. Being positive about something affects how we interact with others and how others will respond to us. And so while it looks distressing, maintaining a positive outlook, it will end. We don't know what the date is yet, but it will. But maintaining a positive attitude just to keep you going, because quite frankly, that is the healthiest thing to do. Doing simple things like coping positively. So limiting intake of things like caffeine and alcohol, where yes, in moderation, it's good, but we often can use them negatively. So we have to be very mindful of that. And doing the things that we have control over, like having a balanced meal, going to bed on time, getting some proper sleep, taking some time out for yourself. Self-care is so critically important. We are unable to take care of anyone else if we don't take care of ourselves first. And lastly, accepting that there's much of this that we cannot change, we will not change. And so just realizing our limitations in the process. We can wash our hands, we can wear masks, we can do social distancing, physical distancing, but there's much of this disease that we do not know, and there's much of this that we have to accept as that information changes. So as we go through the questions, I hope this is in a general context, but I would love to visit with you more about, so yes, this is what the textbook says, and yes, these are general things, but what can we do within that immigrant space and context and background that would be more useful for us?
Thank you very much, Dr. Rodden, for that very informative presentation. Wow. Post-traumatic syndrome is a continuum, and symptoms can lie anywhere on that continuum. And I really like the fact that we have to accept that what is happening to us is not normal, but there's nothing we can do about it. We just have to, cope positively and stay away from the things that are not so good for us.
Absolutely.
Thank you. So I guess the first question I'm thinking about as immigrants, especially with this pandemic, is how do you think it's impacting just the general immigrant community?
So that's an excellent question, and I'm happy to explore a little bit more about this. So we already know that immigrants are usually not classified as immigrants. We're usually going by color. So Black and African American are sometimes considered to be immigrants. We of course know this is not true. But from that line, I would like to say that we all know that there is a disproportionate results of African Americans being affected by COVID-19. We know that. What we don't know is how is it affecting immigrants? And so as things progress, this is something that we want to consider. What was the true effect on our immigrants? So many of us have lived through other epidemics: SARS, H1N1, chikungunya, dengue, HIV. So we know little pieces of how to cope. But there's a negative connotation to this because it's very frequently attributed that the origin of these diseases is to a foreign country, and I mean foreign outside of the USA. So it's not a positive connotation to begin with. So we're setting ourselves up for overall negative impact, and we haven't even had the disease yet. So just baseline, things are looking not good. The other thing I want to think about is, what is that occupation that most of us immigrants occupy? And alarmingly, over 19% of healthcare workers are immigrants. And so it is a job that puts us on the front line, either in main front line or in a supporting role. So that's another thing that puts us at higher risk for contracting the disease and higher worry to bringing it home to our families. But there's something that it holds very significant and poignant meaning, especially for COVID-19, that diagnosis of COVID-19 is now done by telepsych or telemedicine or over the telephone. So we're not seeing someone to represent ourselves. So it comes down to, how do we communicate our needs? And you might not hear your accent, I might not hear my accent, but everybody else does. And there's an immediate barrier there that we have to accept, that someone hears you speaking differently. The first couple of sentences makes no sense to them because they're busy processing that this person sounds different than I do. And one of my worry is, if we're not able to communicate to someone else on the telephone our needs, we might be dismissed, we might not get the care we need, and this inherently creates a bias towards the immigrant community. Now, it's not a general statement, because I could be going to a provider that knows me very well, and that could be the phone call. But just think about all those individuals that were making that cold phone call, that baseline. We have a couple of things that are not working in our favor. And I also worry that when we think about this cumulatively, will we also pursue going, or will we try to fix it ourselves, which might not be the best thing to do. So I want us to think about this as a time to bond together. We know what the limitations are. We know what the biases are. Recognize our individual needs. And so it might mean asking a friend to make that phone call if you feel more comfortable, or reaching out to a provider that you know. But until we have figured out what's a true effect, we need to address those critical things right now to make sure that the social biases, just on the basis that we're immigrants, don't affect our lives. And I mean lives in terms of getting treatment and staying healthy.
That is very true. We need to recognize the barrier and then begin to proactively work to make sure that it doesn't impact our health.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah. And so going now to trauma, many people in our community come from war-torn countries, or they've experienced various types of trauma before they came to the US or even in the US. So for these individuals who already have trauma experiences, how do you think the current pandemic is impacting them. And with that, could you also speak a little bit about secondary trauma? Because I think a lot of our viewers might not know what that is and might not be able to think about it in the context of this.
Absolutely. So let me take the first part first in terms of many of us have experienced trauma in some other form. And there's two parts to this. First, it makes us absolutely resilient because we have been through a previous experience. So that's one part to say, you know, you've been there, done it, I know what to do, I've survived this. But it also makes us vulnerable. And for many of us, there are issues, traumatic issues that we've gone through, buried deep inside and we've never dealt with. And adding on another layer of trauma on that makes you extremely vulnerable to break-in. You know, it brings up issues before that weren't properly resolved, and this might be the time that it presents itself. So our triggers are heightened. Whatever it is that triggers us into either anxiety or depression or having nightmares, they're once again reawakened, and you have another layer of trauma to deal with historically. There's also societal expectations and treatment. So we as immigrants are often the backbone. The initial one is the backbone of the family, and we are supporting other individuals overseas as well. And so we're expected to be strong. And so showing vulnerability is not always what we want to do. What I would say is that validate each other's feelings, especially the ones that you're wrong. Validate. It does not mean weakness. It means it's a cry for help. And it actually is a powerful thing to do, that we accept our weaknesses, we accept our flaws, and we know when what we're doing isn't good enough. But I want to also talk about secondary trauma, which surprisingly, this has been worldwide accepted and one of the things that reclassified what PTSD is. So when an event happens, it doesn't mean that you need to be, let's put it into context. It doesn't mean that if there's a car accident as a bystander, you're not affected. Yes, you're not in it, but you saw it, you reacted to it, and you start to internalize some of that. And so it affects you equally the way it affects the other person who could have been in there. And so do not minimize not having a positive COVID-19 effect. It could have been your sister or your grandma, someone you cared about, a co-worker. And so that layer also is presented on you. And so that is equally a way for you to have trauma, and we often push it aside and think it's not important. And I want to encourage all of us to acknowledge those feelings that you're feeling. Again, very important that feeling something or reacting to something is what we're supposed to do. We know how to react to a baby squealing. It's love and joy. We also need to know how to react when things are bad, and accepting that it's a human range of emotions that we're displaying. And it doesn't mean that you're better than I if I don't cry. It means that we react differently.
So recognizing that we have to react, and reacting to emotions and things that happen around us is very normal. Or
very normal.
Reactions might not be positive, but we can work towards helping that. Okay.
Absolutely, yes.
Mm-hmm. So my next question for you is that many of us come from cultures with very different beliefs and even myths. And I can remember that until about a month ago, there was some sort of news going around that Black people could not get COVID-19. But we now know that that's not true. But we also know that mental health issues in some cultures are considered curses, or they're actually not perceived as a real illness. So what are some actual signs that individuals and families can really look at to identify when someone is struggling with trauma or trauma symptoms?
That is such a powerful thing, and it's ingrained within the immigrant culture about how to view things and how things have previously viewed. And so it also increases that reluctance to seek help. But I want to speak about it in the context of stigma. We attribute stigma to things that are bad, and we label them as bad. And so that is what often goes into this myth. And so if we believe this myth that it's not true, clearly, let's just reiterate, COVID-19 does not discriminate. everyone is vulnerable. So I'm hoping our viewers will take that as a fact that everyone is vulnerable, and it is not a myth. All races, all economic classes are affected by COVID-19. So recognizing that and accepting that the fact that we're not superhuman is very, very important. But how we're brought up also has a very important part to play with this. And so it's not too long ago that the idea of someone having a mental health disorder was a curse, or, you did something bad. There are multiple different attributes to someone given a crude name because they're experiencing mental health disorder, which further pushes individuals to not talk about it. The other part is that we come from communities that mental health doesn't quite look like what the textbook says. So I'll to put it into real life, I'll bring up one that is in the textbook, but I guarantee you that most persons that live near the equator has never experienced it, and that is of seasonal affective disorder. And so whenever I'm teaching, I would ask, most of the classroom would know what seasonal affective disorder is. When the seasons change, individuals might feel a low mood. But if you're in a country that doesn't really experience seasons, or seasons in the reverse part of the month, it doesn't actually apply. So I was born in Jamaica, where there's no winter. So there's no winter blues to describe. Similarly, how we view things like anorexia or depression is very different. So it's not that the disorder doesn't exist. It's the symptoms that are not displayed the same way. And so we need to be very careful that although certain things don't apply, it doesn't mean that the individual is not hurting. It doesn't mean that the reactions you're doing is not to the change in the season. It's not visible, and it doesn't check that textbook. So it points to a larger issue that it's very important that we seek care from individuals who understands us, who is willing to have those discussions with us, and that we're equally willing to talk about some of those myths, even if we believe it. We're not trying to change anyone's mind, but it's a discussion to be starting. One of the huge area that it's often buried or covered up is the religious expectations. Are you weak because you have a mental health disorder? Is it that you're not doing your religious duties, or it's a punishment from God? And if we look at it in context, religion can be an extremely powerful way to anchor your faith. It can give you strength, but it can also be the thing that breaks individuals to say they're not doing something good. And it's not about being right or wrong. And I really want to emphasize this. What we believe is part of our culture and is how we were brought up. It might not be the thing that your provider believes, but have that discussion. Unashamedly say what that myth is. And it's an opportunity for you to teach someone else something, and for them to know something about you while you're making those decisions that you're making, and start the conversation. Because it might be that the practitioners are wrong. It might be that you are wrong. But if you're not brave enough to say, this is what I believe, this is what I've been taught, this is how I was grown, we won't get anywhere. Hiding it is the worst thing that we can do.
We need to be willing to have those open conversations with our providers to be able to get care and get the help that we need.
Oh, yes, absolutely. We should.
Thank you. So how can we then provide comfort to our family and friends who are already experiencing like depression and anxiety or other forms of trauma now in this crisis that could be re-traumatizing them or really exacerbating their health conditions?
So, excellent question. And this is one of the ones that is near and dear to me, because this is what we can do now. We're not waiting on a diagnosis. These are simple things I would love to discuss about. How can I help my sister or my brother? So we often shy away because we don't know, we're not going to say the right thing, or we're going to upset them if we say something. Being present virtually is the most powerful thing that you can do. Being there for that sister, brother, auntie, or uncle who calls you, or call to check on them. We're all going through difficulties, and it's more poignant now to check in on those individuals you care about. And when they express those feelings to you that they might, you validate those feelings. If this is the way they're feeling and this is the way that they're reacting, you validate that. You might not understand where they're coming from, but as human beings, we all know what it feels like to love, to feel fear, to feel anxiety. And so while your reaction to COVID is not fear and worry, we know what that feels like, and it's bad. And so we can connect to each other from that aspect. So I want us to also accept that we are doing the very best we can and remind each other that, again, this is new. We know pieces of it, but this is new. And for the most part, we're doing the best we can. We're working with the tools that we have. When we are physically separated as we are now, it shouldn't mean that we should socially disconnect. We need our families and we need our friends. Reach out to them. Have that Zoom birthday party if you need to. Write a card, call your grandma, say, I want to hear that recipe. I'm going to do it and I'll call you back and tell you how it tasted. Those are the little tiny things. But above all, when you know nothing, when you feel like you're completely out of your depth, remember to be kind. Remember to be supportive. Be understanding that we are going to react negatively. Give each other some grace. Give yourself some grace. And if you're by yourself and it's too much, reach out for help. Pick up that telephone and call somebody and said, I am not okay. I need some help. Never feel like you need to deal with this alone. And we have providers which will help when things get to be critical, but know that just being there for someone else is the most powerful thing you can do for them.
Reach out if you need to and be there for your friends and family who need you.
Yes.
Thank you. So we also know that certain life choices can impact our mental health. And now with the COVID-19, some families are having to make very, very difficult decisions that can be stressful. So what are some recommendations that you can offer to our viewers to help to keep it from becoming really overwhelming, these decisions that they're having to make as a family or as an individual?
So this COVID-19 has given me 3 more roles on top of my regular full-time job, because never before have I been full-time mommy, full-time wife, full-time employee, and then full-time I don't know what to do with myself. So you're being split in multiple different ways, and it takes a while to recognize that. And sometimes it's only when you've gotten to the part of complete exhaustion, you're like, why am I so overwhelmed? So just stop and take a minute and think about 6 weeks ago. How different was your life? How different was it to all the expectations that you're doing now? What are some of those things you're worrying about? So there's a real worry from many about the economic outcomes. Will I lose my job? Will I be able to pay my rent? Will I be able to feed my children? Am I doing a good enough job as a parent? Am I actually letting the kids watch too much TV? You're learning as you go. And so there are times when the child will need to watch some TV to get some sanity. But another thing that we're doing is we're watching a lot of TV, a lot of social media. We're consuming the news in a volume that we've never done before, and it is brutal. And so it also increases our anxiety. I would suggest, and I don't like giving advice all the time unless I'm asked, but limit that amount you're consuming, because that can be one of the sources of you being overwhelmed. We hear little extra pieces every day and we're like, okay, I need to be connected all the time. You need to be connected to know what to do. You don't need to be connected for the news to run your life. We are needing, and I say this very often, to give ourselves a lot of grace. We usually wake up at 6:30 in the morning. You can sleep in until 7 if you feel completely burnt out. It's okay. I'm giving you permission to say it is okay to give yourself lots of grace. try to divide, try to come up with a little plan that you need to. Maybe you need to say, okay, I'm going to zone in for work if you have that opportunity to work from home for 4 hours nonstop. But I'm also going to take 2 hours to spend some time with my family. So I don't feel like I'm being dragged in two different parts. And if it works that week, great. And if it doesn't, next week you'll do better. This is not about being perfectionist. And I think that is the piece that we try to be absolutely perfect, try to keep things as normal. I don't know what normal is anymore, as normal as they would be. And it's not normal times. We are asked to be superhuman, doing superhuman things, and we're not. So take some time to be graceful to yourself and accept that we will not get it right. We will just say, and tomorrow I will try again.
I think we're beginning to see a theme. On Tuesday, Dr. Dalton said the same thing. He said we need to give ourselves compassion, give ourselves permission to be able to not get everything right today. So I think we're seeing that theme, that this is a time when we really have to be graceful with ourselves and give ourselves, the second try, the third try on different things. So
and forgive ourselves too. Forgive us, because we are our harshest critics. So you know what? I spoiled dinner and I forgot to do dinner. All right, so tomorrow I'm going to make up and I'm going to do cookies tomorrow. So forgive yourself, and we will all just think, okay, and we got through. It will be a beautiful story to tell your grandchildren when this is all over.
Thank you. Yes, we need to be definitely forgive ourselves. So I guess my next question, as immigrants, we have family members, in Jamaica for you, in Cameroon for me, and our viewers in various parts of the country, in the US and even the world. But how do we really cope with knowing that we don't know when flights are going to be going to those places anytime soon? And it's almost like we don't know when we're going to see our friends and family members again. How do we really cope with that?
So that's a brilliant question. And I always tell my dad, like, don't even put a date in when I'll see you again. I'll see you when I see you. And it almost becomes comical because Jamaica doesn't want us to come there and US doesn't want anyone to come in. So it has gone into, it's out of our hands. But a little version of this would have happened the very first time we went away. And so we're reliving that right now to say, I'm moving to a different country. I don't know when I'm going to see you, but I'll see you soon. No, that was by choice. No, we're being asked to do that. But to be honest with you, Manka, it's one of the things that we physically need to do to protect ourselves. So distance makes a heart grow fonder, but it's also a life choice to protect those who are vulnerable, those who we care about, protecting ourselves from getting something that we're not sure about. And so we use everything that is virtual to us to stay connected. Yes, I can't come home to enjoy my home cooked meal anymore. Not now anyway, but I am planning for that big return. And I'm going to live virtually about all the things I'm going to do. I do video calls when I need to. Have them video call. I call my dad for his birthday. First time he used a video call, but it was amazing because he thought it was great. And so it helped us to lessen that impact of not being physically able to go. And it's also good to share what's different in how that country is practicing and we're practicing here. Use it as a leverage, as we're fighting the same disease, but we're fighting it so differently. I wonder why that is. So use this as a point of discussion to celebrate what's different in between, and honestly laugh at how ridiculous this is, that I could have gone last month and I didn't, but the next time I'm going, I'm definitely coming to see you, because the times are changing and it requires us to do so, not just because flights restriction, but it actually comes down to a health issue that we need to give each other time to figure out this disease, to know when it is safe to travel again.
Okay. Very interesting, thinking about the first time you left your friends and family members and thinking back to how that is. But I really like the suggestion of laughing. Mm-hmm. I hear that the laughter is medicine, so.
It absolutely is. Free medicine.
So, all right. So we're going to now turn our attention to our viewers' questions. And the very first question that came in is saying, what are some practices that we can use or we should be using for self-care?
Lovely question for self-care. So we know the guidelines are to wash your hands and to cover a face. Those are practical things that we not only need to practice for ourselves, but ensuring that when we ask individuals in the home to do it, it's also caring for yourself. So caring for yourself should include at this point what we do for others to take care of them, because everything my partner does affects me, and everything I do affects them. So I want to expand this idea of self-care. It's not just taking that fabulous long extended walk. That is a part of it, but immediately looking after our health. If we're sick, we won't be able to enjoy that lovely dinner that makes us happy. That is true. But on a practical note, take those little walks if you can. You know, take a little extra time out of your day. Exercise. Even if you don't know what the moves are, try it for 10 minutes. Yoga, meditate, read, you know, do some of those things that you wanted to give a try, that you're prioritizing yourself at this time. We are at home. We are running out of ideas of what to do, but it might be the only time that we get to spend with our children extendedly. And that makes us feel good about ourselves. Being able to do something that we previously weren't able to do gives you time to bond with your children, and you'll be surprised to see the joy that they get from you being there is something that ultimately comes to taking care of your needs and caring for yourself. So I just want to reiterate that self-care, we usually look at it in a very limited context about, I am going to have something that makes me happy. But actually, it's also doing for others and interacting with others to satisfy some of those things that make you happy and make others happy.
Good. Self-care is not just about you, but it's about what you're doing with your friends and family and community.
It is. It should be.
Okay, that's quite a few questions, so let me see. All right, I think we'll take this one. How can I help someone who's in denial? One of the questions from our viewers.
And denial, it still exists today. I literally heard someone on the TV said, I don't believe that thing. I don't believe that thing called COVID. And at first, you know, the instant reaction is to, but how couldn't you? Can't you see? You want to ask that person, why not? And I will say that honestly, because until last night, I never thought of how individuals might have been previously duped by the individuals they live around, treated badly, you know, denied care, historically being lied to. And those are some realities that affect individuals and how they view this thing. And they might be in denial, not because they don't necessarily believe, they might not believe the source it's coming from. So first, ask, why don't you believe? What is the aspect, as opposed to blocking them to push our views on them? And then, if there's credible evidence, to leave on the table to say, but have you thought of this? And have you thought of this? Have you seen where this is? That's an opening, and it might not change your mind, but it gets them to start thinking. And if it's coming from an individual who they trust and they have a lot of respect for, it will change the way they view things. And so our role is not necessarily to change a historical aspect, but to be that person that could be the trusted one to change how an individual reacts to information, which I can't believe this one came in, and I really thank the viewer for asking that question, because my initial reaction before tonight would be like, well, present some evidence, that's how we live. But it's really, really important to step back away from that. Before you start pushing your ideas, ask, what is it that is fueling this denial?
Very good point. Take a step back and find out why.
Yes, absolutely. We really should.
The next question from our viewer is, what should we look for as trauma triggers, and how can we manage or handle it?
So there are some simple ones to look for. Triggers usually comes in the senses actually. So what you see or smell or hear are usually things that are considered triggers. So if there's a familiar thing, like a perfume, that was the last perfume you smell of a bad event, it might come back and it might trigger something. So we want to be very careful that when those things arise, accepting it, and if we can pinpoint it to something, we start to process it that way. If you're the one experiencing it, chances are it will be a phase and it will fade. Most individuals who go through trauma, it's temporary. And we have to hold on to that there is an acute stress reaction to things. If we're frightened, we'll sweat and panic for a few minutes, but it doesn't necessarily last a lifetime. And so we also have to give our body time to react to things. We don't always cover it up. It's that flight or fight response. Our body reacts to make us make a decision. And again, I want to put it in a very good context that feeling things is a good thing. Processing things is good. And we know when it gets to the point where it can be opening up to other things that we're not sure how to handle. And that is when we really should reach out for help.
Feeling things is good.
It is. It's absolutely a good thing.
Okay. And our next question. Oh, I like this one. So how can we use our African culture, dance, drumming, and act to help us deal with stress?
Oh, I love this question because we absolutely should use all of it. Our culture has brought so much joy to everyone around the world. Why shouldn't we use it for ourselves, especially music and dance? And so blast it as high as you need to. And again, if you're by yourself, phone a friend and say, okay, we're going to have a party together. But realize the richness of our culture, that if we don't share it, nobody will know. And so here is a time to use it for ourselves. And can I just extend that to figure out you can cook your traditional dishes and put on your traditional dress. You know, celebrate the very best things about your culture in a time when you need it the most. You know, when you have something good and you're saving it for that special event. No. This is the time to draw on that and play your music and dance and invoke that natural rhythm of happiness that comes from that music. Because so many other persons around the world have benefited. This is the time we will cash in on our own valuable things for ourselves, our enjoyment and happiness.
Nice. Enjoy our culture. Good.
Yes, absolutely. So I might be putting on some music tonight.
Okay. So the other question I see is, can there be collective trauma, group trauma, and how can people deal with this?
Oh, you know, so some of my research is with veterans, and this is one of the examples of where that is very evident. But I would also like to put this in the context of immigrants. It's a group. And so there are things that we experience uniquely that even if you're not in the same place, that happens to you. You will react to it as an immigrant. And so group trauma is where an individual might hear of, see of, or experience the same events and have very similar reaction because there's one core element that is applicable to all. How do we deal with it? You use that same group as your strength. And so you discuss it amongst yourself about how did you feel and how did I feel and why did we react differently. And so there might be times when you need to reprocess it, and there's no one you can reprocess it apart from those who understand the way it feels. I will say there's some things that are lost in translation. And so there's no other way but to say it in my own language to you. And so if I can explain that to somebody else who got it and who experienced it the same way, that's a very powerful thing. Oh my goodness, you understand. And you would be surprised at how much just that acknowledgement lessens that traumatic experience. Because, oh my goodness, I am not losing my mind. It is very real and you felt it too. because I can explain to you on a very granular level, what is that thing that we experience as a group, and how can we get past this? So use your group experience. Yes, we experience it, but use it as a source of strength for each other.
Use our group experience to us together be better.
Yes, we should. Mm-hmm.
So I think one of the things you were talking about, or we've been talking about, is our culture. And the part of our culture is that we're used to going to having celebrations and doing a lot of social gatherings. That's like the fabric of our culture. But right now, we cannot have any of those things. So what are some things that we can do to kind of help us with these feelings of disconnection or being isolated from our friends and family members?
So, I actually see this as a part of grieving. The loss, so we often think of grieving as someone dying, but not really. Grieving is really the loss of something or a way of doing things. And so give yourself enough time to say, is this really happening? Can I really not go to my party or my church event or that birthday celebration? Is it? And there's that denial. Like, I think I'm going. It's still going to happen. So when you find yourself going through the process of grief, it goes through denial, and then you finally will get to acceptance. And so throughout all of this, what it reminds you, it strengthens the need for these things. It puts another importance of it that we would normally do as, it's okay to go and I might not go, and I love going, but it reconfirms the value of it. And so what we do is recreate that value. It's not necessarily about the actual space. It's what we do. It's the things we look forward to. It's the way or the food that you'll get there, Okay, I'm going to recreate that one food item that I really wanted to go there for, and recreate the value of those things. Again, I can't emphasize enough, because we're physically separated. This is the time to do those virtual parties and turn up that music loud and recreate. So you fry the fish and I will fry the chicken, and we're going to come together and celebrate those things that we wanted to do. We're having virtual church events. We're having virtual baptisms. It still needs to happen. But the piece that I think will change us forever is that we will now recognize the value of spending time with each other. Whether it's distance or in person, and we shouldn't let not being able to do it in the traditional sense prevent us from enjoying the value of that.
Wow, that ties right back to what Dr. Dalton was saying on Tuesday. He said we really have to be creative in these times. Do things creatively, do the same things that we used to do, but do it in a creative way, like you said. Fry the chicken, fry the fish, and come together and celebrate still.
Yes.
I think we're going to take our last question now. And so the viewer is asking, can we be traumatized by watching the news or seeing someone else in trauma? And then what do we do?
Oh my, so that is it. That is the perfect definition of secondary trauma. You are going through an example of being exposed to a traumatic event every single night, multiple nights, and hearing things that you've never heard before, seeing pictures that you weren't prepared for, nor can you immediately process in that 2-second clip that comes on the TV. And so I would really encourage you to limit that intake, because most of it, unfortunately, is bad news. Most of it is sensationalized to put in the wow factor with the music behind it and breaking news behind it and the recurring. We want to stay connected, but we need to be very careful and monitor what is going in. How do we deal with it? Exactly that. Limit yourselves. And when this is over, process the way we do things, because from that example alone, you have been exposed to trauma and could have those traumatic experiences. It's no different from watching a scary movie and having nightmares, because you weren't prepared for what was happening. And what you're doing is watching a scary movie over and over again every day, and it just keeps getting worse. So we need to limit our scary movie intake.
Limit our scary movie intake. Okay.
Yes.
Thank you so much, Dr. Rodney, for all the valuable information and the skills and strategies that you're giving us. So I do understand that you have some resources to share with us. So I will give you this time to, any final words that you have for our viewers. You can say them.
Absolutely. So it's been an absolute pleasure to be here and to talk about things which are important. And it brings up things for me which I need to reevaluate about how important our immigrant network is. The one thing I will say as parting words is we will get through this together. And I will reemphasize that together piece. And while we're figuring it out, lean on each other and be gentle to yourself. Lean on your local counseling centers, religious and spiritual groups, any support groups that you might have, family and friends. Those are the most accessible. But there are also places online that you can go to. And so one of the very helpful one is the Anxiety and Depression Association of America, and it's adaa.org. And you can actually do self-assessments if you find that helpful, or look for tips that you might use. But another one that might be useful, especially to our younger viewers, is a crisis text line. And the name sounds more serious than it really is. It's not really just for crisis, but it's a line that you can connect to a provider and text your messages in to keep it anonymous and to ask whatever questions you want to without sharing anything about yourself. And so that number is 741-741. It spells the word connect. So that's 741-741.
And is that only for younger people, or anyone can use it?
Anyone can use it. So what we can leverage using the phone, and we're still in an era where we don't necessarily want to show our face, or you want to keep things private. And that's fine, but it allows you to do that text message. And if you want to open it up to a phone call, then you can move on to there. But it's an entry point to keep things as gentle as it is, because we're still afraid sometimes to discuss the things we don't know.
So thank you so much, Dr. Rodney. Thank you. This has been very invaluable resources. And again, we're going to post these resources on our website. So I would like to take this time to thank you, our viewers, for tuning in today to hear us talk about post-traumatic syndrome and how you can really figure out what it is and what resources are available to help you, and how we as a community can begin leaning on each other to help ourselves and help ourselves go through this crisis. So I'd like to thank Dr. Rodney again for coming on. I'd like to thank Afrique today for hosting us, and Immigrant Community Services for putting this on. So as we close tonight, I'll say thank you to our viewers, be safe, and I'll pass you now back onto Alan in the studios.
Thank you so much. Thank you, everyone. It was very, very great. Good job, Dr. Banka. Thank you so much, Dr. Tamara. It was very great show today, and I hope a lot of people enjoy, and I think next week we will do better. Maybe we have some technical issues today. No, next week we will try to do a nice job. Again, thank you all of you, and thank you so much, everyone. Of course, if you want to watch Afrique Today, it's very easy. Just go to www.afriquetoday.com. Go also to, you can watch Afrique Today at the same time on 4 platforms: Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, and our website www.afriquetoday.com. Download Afrique Today app. Afrique Today is already available on on iPhone, Android telephone. And if you have a smart TV, you can just download Roku TV or Amazon Fire Stick, and you will be able to watch Afrique Today. My name is Alain Pierre. I hope we have a show every Sunday at 3 p.m. This special show, Coronavirus, will continue next Tuesday. Thank you so much, everyone, and see you. Bye.
Afrique Today, our objective is to help you access trending information that is fresh and relevant in the promotion of African culture and values, as well as information that enhances economic, political, and social welfare in the continent. We provide a platform to share news, ideas, and useful information from different perspectives that reflect our African traditions such as music, art, and fashion, among others. With the dawn of the new year, Afrique Today is here to deliver this information and more for you, our valued audience and stakeholders. We have spared no resources in refining our platform to make it better and look forward to serving your needs and you being part of a rejuvenated Africa that has so much to offer the world. Thank you for stopping by and Happy New Year, everyone.
Salut à tous et bienvenue dans cette nouvelle émission de Transformation Point avec Salvation of Christ sur Afrique Today. Pendant que nous vivons dans un monde empreint de danger, d'incertitude, d'insécurité, de violence, de guerre, d'abus, de terrorisme et d'esprits maléfiques et diaboliques, nous sommes victimes de situations difficiles qui nous mettent en détresse, qui nous traumatisent et qui nous arrachent l'espoir et l'envie de vivre une vie de joie, de paix, d'assurance et de bonheur tel que nous espérons. Le monde actuellement fait face maintenant à une crise pandémique sans précédent. Que nous le voulons ou pas, nos vies ont pris une tournure nouvelle inimaginable. Nous ne savons plus ce que le lendemain nous réserve. Bien que nous savons dans quelle situation nous nous trouvons maintenant, dans la terreur, nous ne sommes pas sans espérance. Le Seigneur nous promet son secours dans ces moments intenses de difficulté. Nous pouvons nous confier à lui avec une entière espérance et une assurance, comme Psaume 46:1 dit, Dieu est pour nous un refuge et un appui, un secours qui ne manque jamais dans la détresse. Pour échapper à tout ce qui se passe dans le monde, nous devons nous réfugier en Dieu. Nous devons nous appuyer sur sa force et sur sa toute-puissance. Nous devons espérer en lui et compter sur sa protection de jour et de nuit, car lui seul est capable de nous protéger véritablement et de nous bénir, de nous délivrer et de maintenir en nous le souffle de vie qu'il nous donne continuellement. Ce que nous vivons dans le monde actuellement n'est pas une surprise devant Dieu. Au contraire, le Seigneur nous avertit dans sa parole. Le Seigneur connaît le monde plus que nous. Il sait ce que nous allons avoir à faire comme des moments de détresse intense dans le monde. Ayant vécu dans le monde en tant qu'homme, le Seigneur Jésus a vécu toutes les situations difficiles et il est le mieux placé pour nous guider. Il a connu la détresse, il a été rejeté, il a été menacé, il a été trahi, maltraité, abandonné et finalement crucifié injustement. 2 Corinthiens 5:21 dit, celui qui n'a connu de péché, il l'a fait devenir péché pour nous, afin que nous devenions en lui justice de Dieu. Le Seigneur Jésus-Christ a vécu l'horreur de la crucifixion pour que nous puissions être sauvés et à échapper aux horreurs du monde orchestrées par l'ennemi pour détruire les enfants de Dieu et les hommes qui n'écoutent pas les voix de Dieu. Le Seigneur Jésus-Christ nous a avertis dans sa parole. Également, nous devons l'écouter et le suivre pas à pas car il sait ce qu'il convient de faire. Nous ne devons pas baisser les bras devant nos différentes difficultés, luttes et combats, mais d'avoir la paix en lui et lui faire confiance. Le Seigneur Jésus-Christ dit dans Jean 16, 33, « Je vous ai dit ces choses afin que vous ayez à la paix en moi. Vous aurez des tribulations dans le monde, mais prenez courage, car j'ai vaincu le monde. » Le Seigneur Jésus-Christ a vaincu le monde. Il est le seul qui est vraiment ressuscité. Il nous invite à prendre courage, à persévérer, à continuer à travailler sans relâche, à continuer à prier en regardant aux promesses qu'il nous donne dans sa parole. Bien avant de quitter le monde, le Seigneur Jésus-Christ, sachant la souffrance que nous allions endurer dans ce monde, prie à Dieu de nous préserver du mal et de nous sanctifier par sa parole dans le monde, comme nous lisons dans Jean 17, 15 à 17, qui dit « Je ne te prie pas de les ôter du monde, mais de les préserver du mal. Ils ne sont pas du monde comme moi je ne suis pas du monde. Sanctifie-les par ta parole, par ta vérité. Ta parole est la vérité. » Bien-aimés, le Seigneur a clairement su que nous devions passer les moments difficiles. Comme nous appartenons pas au monde, mais nous vivons dans le monde en tant qu'enfants de Dieu, nous aurons des moments très douloureux comme ceux-ci qui vont arriver. Mais restons en prière, le Seigneur nous préserve du mal, il nous protège, il nous donne la victoire dans ce que nous endurons. Ses paroles nous sanctifient, ses paroles sont la vérité et nous protègent. Pendant que nous marchons avec le Seigneur, nous devons apprendre à attendre en silence son secours, sachant qu'il nous délivrera toujours. Comme Psaume 34, 19 dit, « Le malheur atteint souvent le juste, mais l'Éternel l'en délivre toujours. » Le Seigneur nous délivrera de ces moments de Covid difficiles. Le Covid passera, mais la parole de notre Dieu est éternelle et ne passera jamais. Prie avec moi. Avec moi et répète après moi. Père éternel, je viens personnellement auprès de toi pour te confier la situation du monde. Je te remets le monde entier troublé par le Covid entre tes mains, ainsi que toutes les situations d'inquiétude par rapport aux dangers, incertitudes, insécurité, injustice, violence, toutes sortes d'abus et de terrorisme et d'esprits maléfiques et diaboliques que nous vivons tous les jours dans ce monde. Je me confie ainsi que toute ma famille, mes amis et mes collègues entre tes mains. Seigneur, sauve-nous de ces situations de détresse qui traumatisent et qui arrachent l'espoir et l'envie de vivre une vie de paix, de joie et d'assurance et de bonheur tel que tu nous promets. Viens à notre secours, Seigneur. Aide-nous et réconforte-nous. Nous attendons en silence ton secours qui vient par ta puissance, la puissance de ton Esprit Saint au nom de Jésus-Christ notre Seigneur et Sauveur. Amen. Pendant que nous crions à Dieu nuit et jour, nous avons l'impression qu'il ne nous écoute pas, mais il a un plan et un temps pour agir. Le silence de Dieu n'est jamais synonyme d'inactivité. Le silence de Dieu n'est jamais son refus de nous répondre. Quand nous faisons nos prières devant Dieu, il n'y a que deux réponses possibles, oui ou non. Oui peut être instantané, c'est-à-dire le Seigneur dit oui et il nous exauce tout de suite. Il peut également dire oui, attends, ce sera plus tard. Nous aimerions tout le temps quand nous venons devant le Seigneur pour faire une prière, avoir de lui le oui instantané qui nous exauce dans les délais qui nous conviennent, que nous avons espéré. Mais dans la réalité, la majorité de fois, nous devons mettre du temps à attendre les promesses de notre Dieu. Et selon le plan de Dieu, cette promesse peut se réaliser plus tard dans un délai lointain qui ne nous rend pas contents et qui ne nous arrange pas. Quand une promesse tarde à se réaliser, nous concluons trop rapidement que le Seigneur n'a pas répondu à nos prières quand il s'apprête à nous bénir de la plus belle manière. Le Seigneur n'est jamais pressé ou lent, il fait chaque chose en son temps, comme 2 Pierre 3:8 dit, mais il est une chose bien aimée que vous ne devez pas ignorer, c'est que devant le Seigneur, un jour est comme 1000 ans et 1000 ans sont comme un. Le Seigneur ne tarde jamais dans l'accomplissement de ses promesses. Nous demandons de bonnes choses au Seigneur, mais nous ne sommes pas prêts et nous ne sommes pas patients pour attendre l'accomplissement de ce qu'il nous a promis. Nous les voulons à l'instant pour les recevoir, surtout dans un monde qui nous promet des choses comme des fast-food, tout est rapide et personne ne veut plus rien attendre. Mais Dieu est fidèle et bon, il ne peut pas nous donner ce qui va nous nuire. Il orchestre des circonstances pour nous préparer à recevoir, à gérer, à apprécier et à jouir les bénédictions qu'il s'apprête à déverser dans nos vies. Quand le Seigneur nous donne une promesse, c'est sa parole prophétique qu'il nous donne et quelle que soit la durée de temps que ça prend, le Seigneur va finir par réaliser ce plan, comme Habakkuk 2:3 dit, car une prophétie dont le temps est déjà fixé, elle marche vers son terme et elle ne mentira point. Si elle tarde, attends-la, car elle s'accomplira certainement. Le Seigneur n'est jamais en retard. Plus nous attendons, plus notre bénédiction sera grande. Car le roi des gloires a notre dossier en main. Nous ne cessons pas d'élever à Dieu nos prières, surtout dans ces moments de pandémie qui détruit le monde. Le Seigneur a promis de nous protéger, de nous guider, de nous bénir. Il a promis que même dans ces moments de difficulté, il sera avec nous et qu'il nous exaucera selon sa volonté. Malgré les frustrations que nous pouvons ressentir, ces moments de détresse, de maladie et de malheur dans le monde, le Seigneur nous a protégés, promis sa protection avec nos enfants et nos familles. Il est présent pour nous accompagner pas à pas. Quand nous venons devant Dieu avec foi, il nous donne l'assurance de nous répondre et nous n'avons rien à craindre. Nous devons continuer à espérer en lui. Comme Lamentation 3:25 dit, l'Éternel a de la bonté pour qui espère en lui, pour l'âme qui le cherche. Le moment où nous commençons à baisser les bras et à abandonner notre espérance en Dieu, c'est le moment où l'ennemi nous décourage, lui qui orchestre tout genre de destruction dans le monde et maintenant cette pandémie qui décime la population mondiale. Il veut nous détourner de nos bénédictions que le Seigneur a merveilleusement apprêtées pour nous. Gardons le silence et attendons avec assurance le secours du Seigneur. Comme Lamentation 3:26 dit, il est bon d'attendre en silence le secours de l'Éternel. Notre Seigneur est bon, il est merveilleux et il utilise ces moments de confinement pour nous bénir, nous donner des moments de passer en famille, de travailler sur nos projets et d'apprendre à lui faire confiance. Il est notre forteresse et il ne va pas tarder à nous libérer. Dis avec moi aujourd'hui, comme Psaume 135 dit, j'espère en l'Éternel, mon âme espère en lui et j'attends sa promesse. Prions Dieu. Prions Dieu. Merci Seigneur de nous donner par tes paroles aujourd'hui le réconfort par rapport aux multiples frustrations que nous avons de ne pas pouvoir voir tes promesses se réaliser dans nos vies dans les délais que nous avons souhaités. Surtout maintenant que le Covid est venu foirer nos plans et nos objectifs, nous avons choisi en ce jour et maintenant de remettre nos cas entre tes mains pour que tu nous débloques de nos situations difficiles, pour que tu nous guérisses, pour que tu donnes la force, Seigneur, aux infirmières, aux médecins, aux pharmaciens et à tous ceux qui de près ou de loin, Seigneur, se sont engagés dans cette lutte d'avoir le triomphe par ta main puissante. La délivrance et la libération viennent de toi. Aucune situation aussi difficile, quelle que soit, ne peut pas échapper à ta grandeur. Pendant que nous espérons en toi, Seigneur, pendant que nous attendons en secours, en silence ton secours, nous restons assurés que notre bénédiction sera plus grande par la puissance de ton Esprit Saint, au nom de Jésus-Christ, notre Seigneur et Sauveur. Amen. Nous voici donc à la fin de Transformation Point avec Salvation of Christ sur Afrique Today. En tant qu'enfants de Dieu, nous triomphons en toutes choses. Nous sommes toujours plus que vainqueurs et comme Philippiens 4, 6 à 7 nous exhorte, ne vous inquiétez de rien, mais en toutes choses, faites connaître vos besoins à Dieu par des prières et des supplications avec des actions de grâce. Et la paix de Dieu qui surpasse toute intelligence gardera vos cœurs et vos pensées en Jésus-Christ. Maintenant, ouvrez grandement vos mains pour recevoir la bénédiction de Dieu. Que le Seigneur vous bénisse et qu'il vous garde. Que le Seigneur fasse luire sa face sur vous et qu'il vous accorde sa grâce. Allez dans son amour, allez dans sa paix, allez dans sa force, allez dans son assurance et passez une agréable semaine et à dimanche prochain dans une nouvelle émission de Transformation Point avec Salvation of Christ sur Afrique Today. Merci.